Today, we are diving into how avoidant attachment manifests across different psychotypes. And yes, the way it plays out can look very different depending on the dominant psychotype. Avoidant attachment isn't just a fear of closeness. It is a fear of something specific in closeness, and both the fear itself and its triggers vary from person to person depending on their personality structure. Today's video breaks down how avoidant tendencies manifest across different personality structures and what each type needs to start feeling safe in relationships. We all have traits from multiple personality structures, but for most people, one or two tend to be more dominant, shaping how they experience closeness. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment. It's one of the best ways to support this channel, which is dedicated to the healing power of psychology. And also, I love hearing your thoughts. And one more thing, set your intention for this video. The mind treats new knowledge as a resource for change, but if you don't direct it, it can just spread thinly across different areas of life without creating real impact. But if you set a clear intention, your psyche will channel this insight toward one specific area where you actually need it. Maybe a specific goal, a specific relationship. Choose one focus and let's get started. The first one, schizoid.
Mostly I work at a garage.
Where?
Reseda Boulevard. I gotta go.
Okay.
Thanks for the water.
Goodbye. Bye.
Don't be put off by the name. It has nothing to do with disorders or anything abnormal. I decided not to change it to something more approachable for those unfamiliar with psychology. But just in case, if you'd like to research a certain particular type later. Main fear in closeness for a schizoid is the fear of being absorbed and having their boundaries disregarded. This fear often comes from early experiences where their boundaries were not respected. Maybe a parent was too invasive, too controlling, or too emotionally overwhelming. Instead of feeling like a separate person with autonomy, the schizoid felt engulfed by the needs, emotions, or expectations of others, leaving them with only one survival strategy: retreating inward and creating distance. They associate closeness with disappearing into the other person's world. In relationships, this turns into a constant push and pull, getting close but retreating just as quickly. They may cut off contact and disappear for long periods, retreating into their minds through daydreaming, creating elaborate inner worlds, or immersing themselves in a solitary pursuit to avoid real-world intimacy. Their withdrawal is triggered by partners expecting deep emotional connection. The more someone tries to get close, the more a schizoid feels the need to escape. What schizoids truly need isn't more isolation, it's self-regulation. Learning to recognize their own internal signals, shift between their inner and outer worlds, and slowly move toward warmth and connection. Because the real struggle is not avoidance, it's the emotional numbness and that keeps them frozen. The best way to help schizoid overcome avoidance is to provide a patient, low-pressure relationship that respects their need for space. The next one is masochist.
I want you flat on your back. Helpless. Tender. open. With only me to help. And then I want you strong again. You're not going to die. You might wish you're going to die, but you're not going to. You need to settle down a little.
Kiss me, my girl, before I'm sick.
The masochist fears that closeness will expose their unworthiness, making them feel undeserving and at risk of rejection. They confuse healthy intimacy with something that must be earned through suffering, believing that love without sacrifice is not real. The masochist rejects their own needs, believing they must suffer to deserve love. Instead of seeking pleasure, they are drawn to endurance and sacrifice because in the past, suffering was the only way they felt seen. Kind of, if I show you how much I'm struggling, I will be noticed and loved. They shame themselves for enjoyment, suppress their anger, and turn it into resentment and moralized frustration, often becoming dismissive of others. They can actually use self-sacrifice as a tool for distancing from real closeness. Rather than withdrawing physically, they create distance by overgiving, making the relationship about the other person's needs while avoiding their own emotional vulnerability. Or they can use resentment as a shield. Their suppressed needs turn into frustration and righteous anger, allowing them to keep emotional walls up while blaming the partner for not noticing their suffering. They need love and care to acknowledge their own neediness and to learn to express their desires and dissatisfaction, not as something shameful, but as a way to experience their influence over life and their ability to receive joy. A partner can help by gently encouraging them to express their needs directly, reinforcing that love does not have to be earned through suffering, avoiding rewarding suffering with extra attention, and creating a space where their desires feel valid and not shameful. The next one is obsessive compulsive.
This is what's going to happen. Okay, I'm going to keep pursuing what I'm pursuing. And because I'm doing that, it's going to take up more and more of my time, and I'm not going to be able to spend as much time with you. And even when I do spend time with you, I'm going to be thinking about drumming. And I'm going to be thinking about jazz music and my charts and all that. And because of that, you're going to start to resent me. And you're going to tell me to ease up on the drumming, spend more time with you because you're not feeling important. And I'm not going to be able to do that. And really, I'm just going to start to resent you for even asking me to stop drumming. And we're just going to start to hate each other. And it's going to be ugly. And so for those reasons, I'd rather just, break it off clean.
Core fear here is losing control over themselves, their emotions, or their goals. They can associate closeness with a threat to their stability, since intimacy might feel messy and unpredictable, which clashes with their need for order. They distance themselves from closeness through rules, logic, and perfectionism, making sure love remains within a controlled framework. The obsessive-compulsive type isn't just avoiding emotions, they are afraid of making a mistake. Their life runs on self-control, strict rules, and high moral standards, following the motto, do not feel it, just do it. But this need for perfection and rigid self-discipline makes true authenticity impossible. They are stable, predictable, and highly functional, but at the cost of emotional suppression, always in control, yet never fully themselves. Their avoidance is triggered when they sense chaos, emotional messiness, or unpredictability in a relationship. Rather than feeling their emotions, they try to rationalize them, seeking logic instead of engaging with their partner emotionally. They need to allow themselves to experience spontaneity and trust that emotions will not destabilize their life, gradually becoming comfortable with an emotional unpredictability. The last one for today is hysterical.
What do you want?
I want to talk to you.
I'm busy.
What are you doing?
Reading.
South America, land of wealth and promise.
It's very interesting.
Let's get out of here. I said, let's get out of here. I want to talk to you. Shh. What's the matter with you anyway? What's happened?
Fred, would you please just leave me alone?
Holly, I love you.
These people are charming, seductive, and socially magnetic, yet terrified of true intimacy and emotional dependence. The main fears in closeness for them is being exposed of being not enough, that they are not as glamorous or sophisticated as they portray themselves. The next fear is loss of freedom, and that their emotional intensity will be rejected. They can associate closeness with loss of autonomy and entrapment. The hysterical type lacks access to genuine embodiment and sensuality, which pushes them to defend themselves through seduction, false sexuality, childlike behavior, attention-seeking, and immersion in romantic dramas. Alternating between seducing and rejecting a partner, expecting parental care from them, and then fighting against them. They need to feel emotionally secure without fearing abandonment, learning to trust in consistent relationships. And that was the first part of how avoidant attachment style manifests across different psychotypes. Did you recognize yourself or your partner in any of these types? If you enjoyed this video and want to see the second part, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the bell button so you don't miss it. Also, did you like the topic of personality types? How they develop or what shapes them and how they influence our relationships in life? Let me know. Don't forget to subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.